So when I first started working on the channel again, my main inspiration was to do vlog content. I was watching a lot of that at the time, and I was traveling a lot for work, so I thought it'd be pretty interesting to document that. So I built like the simple, Gorilla Pod vlogging camera setup, of course the shotgun microphone. And wow, I remember only having like 3 pieces of kit those days instead of all this stuff going on here. Anyway, with it being a little bit less scary to go outside, I kind of wanted to do some coverage, especially since I'd moved to Singapore, and just, having some fun with it again. So I was kind of wondering, is the old standby still the best option, or has something new and better come out? So the reigning champion of the past few years for the on-camera or vlogging mic for cameras has been the Rode Videomic Pro. And this really had all the dream features that you would want for a vlogging mic. So, one of the biggest things was, running out of battery power. Now, these microphones last forever, even the ones that require batteries, but this one has a built-in rechargeable battery. You just plug it in through micro USB, which is really handy. And alongside that, it has a really cool power management system. So, when it's plugged into the camera, it detects if the camera's on, so it turns the microphone on. And when you turn it off, it turns the microphone off. So you get, I had this for like 3 months and I didn't need to charge it. The other useful things are like a low cut filter. So any like rumble or AC noise, it can take that out. And then it has adjustable levels. So some cameras have really good, really sensitive preamps, like the Sony cameras are pretty good with that. Some like Canon don't, because you don't want to boost the gain in the camera because they're usually pretty bad and have a lot of noise. So you can actually use the microphone to increase it and get that nice audio level that you want. And finally, there's a really good handy feature where you can actually set the level to be 2 different levels on the left and right channel, so one can be higher than the other. And this is really good for creating a safety track if you think you're going to be in environments where the volume might raise, or basically to avoid clipping, you have like one safety track. And you can get a dead cat as an extra accessory. And the only drawback though is that this thing is huge. It's really not inconspicuous, and it's just a big bulky thing to have. So I kind of wondered, what is the upgrade? What is the next level? And just randomly browsing through Sony Alpha forums, I saw a new microphone and I was really interested in it. So the new microphone was a microphone from Sony, and I knew that Sony had done, different microphones for their cameras and they were pretty decent. Like I actually really enjoyed the Sony lavalier kit that I used for quite a while. So I looked into these and they have a really unique and interesting feature set, but of course they only work best with Sony's cameras, and there's a few reasons for that. Now the thing is that these have, of course, Sony's really weird naming scheme. So they're called the ECM-B1M and the ECM-B10. The one that was just announced was the B10, and this is the smaller version of the B1M, which makes no sense. But I actually found a ECM-B1M, which I'm just gonna call the ECM for right now. It's the bigger one, it's a more expensive one, and it's one that was announced in 2019, and it happened with 2 things happening in the world in the following year. So one was, of course, the thing that kept us all at home, and the other thing was there was a fire in Japan that affected a lot of audio components because a lot of the chips and supply chain just got messed up. So a lot of things like cameras and microphones became hard to find. So like this microphone, when I looked into it, it was basically out of stock pretty much ever since it launched. And I was lucky enough to find the one that was floating around in Singapore. So I picked it up because not only was it the only one, but it was on a pretty crazy sale. It's quite an expensive mic. It's more expensive than the Rode, but the little brother is cheaper than the Rode by like 30 bucks or so, or I don't know, depends. The Rode's always on sale as well. So I picked this one up, and it has some really unique features that I just want to talk about here briefly. All right, so what are the really cool features of this microphone? Well, the main one is the Mi shoe mount. It uses the Mi shoe mount, which basically is built into the cold shoe or hot shoe mount at the top of your camera. And this creates a digital connection. So this means that the microphone actually gets powered by your camera. So no need to, recharge batteries or anything about that. It just takes it from the camera battery. And also it doesn't require any audio cables, so you don't need to set up any cables. Speaking of cables, we have Kat, who is cameo appearing right here. She's got fur in her eye. She's very sleepy. So what does this mean? It means that, you know, you basically keep the audio signal as a digital signal instead of doing analog to digital conversions constantly. Now you can change this with the switch on the back, but honestly just keep it digital. And you can also do things like change the polar pattern. So it has these 8 microphones on top on the bigger model. The smaller model only has 4. And this has what's known as this beam forming technology, but pretty much you can change the polar pattern. So it's meant to be like a hypercardioid, super directional microphone to, you know, for like vlogging to pick up your voice. But, you know, one of the annoying things about when you're vlogging, especially when you have someone with you, is, you know, you might be pointing the camera somewhere and want to comment on something, but it sounds all muffled because it's picking you from outside of the polar pattern. Well, this allows you to change to omnidirectional, so you can be behind the camera and talking into it. And it has a cardioid one to kind of pick up a wider field of view, like if you have a couple of different people talking. So pretty nifty with that. The other feature is, of course, it has like the low pass filter for like a rumble, but it also has noise cancellation. So if you're in a noisy area, you can do that. We'll actually show some samples of that later. And then it has this attenuation feature, or ATT. I'm pretty sure it stands for attenuation. And this basically adjusts the sensitivity of the mic. So if you need to pick up really like quiet sounds or something like far away, you know, set it to 0 dB. If you're picking up really loud sounds, set it to 20, and it interacts with the automatic volume control. So, you know, I found that if you're vlogging and you have things set to automatic, setting it to 10 gives you this really nice level where you're not peaking or clipping, and, you know, you can have some headroom for adjusting in post. And you can also set things to manual, and you can manually set your input level, and this will again work in conjunction with the sensitivity. So really handy thing. And the best part of it is that it's a super small microphone, way smaller than the Rode. So why don't we test these out, compare them side to side, and, you know, see if this is an improvement or not. Has the technology gotten better? Is this a more convenient microphone? And which one of these is going to end up on carousel? All right, so the first test is going to be testing walking with the shotgun mic. This is pretty much the standard vlog walk and talk. Here's Ira here. She's just woke up from a nap, so we'll let her stay off camera. But this one is the arm workout, because your arm dies after a few seconds of doing this. And what I wanted to test here is how good the shock absorber is. So on this particular model, I noticed in the reviews that one of the problems is that it picks up the shake in the microphone, and you can hear it. So what we're going to try right now is just with the standard settings, but I did notice that Sony actually says on the manual itself that if this sound is picked up too much, that you can actually do the low cut filter, and it should help with that. So again, this is just walking and talking without any settings change. The attenuation's at 10, and if you're listening on the video, I haven't done any processing on the audio. I'm just probably boosting the gain a little bit, but other than that, there's no other processing or effects applied. So I'm actually going to switch the low cut filter on now. All right, this is with the low cut filter on. I'll see in post if it removed the rumble or if there was any at all. Ira recommended that I actually run and do this to see if it absorbs all the shock and sound, but I would never run in a vlog. That would just never happen unless, you know, I looked in the viewfinder and I saw someone was coming to stab me in the back. So maybe Ira will. When Ira vlogs, she can walk and run. But anyway, this is the test of the low cut filter. We actually got a bit of wind going on now too, so we'll see how that works. But we're gonna continue on and see if we can find some monkeys, because they've been popping up over in the back over here. Although they've been popping up around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, so maybe they aren't out yet. All right, so now we're testing the omnidirectional. Ira's gonna kill me because we just said a bunch of stuff. But what are you making for dessert tonight?
I'm making the chocolate chip skillet cookie that has been waiting in the freezer for about a week. So it should be really good. Lewis is actually thinking if we should buy ice cream on the way home, but I don't know. Should we? I think we did good yesterday by walking 5 miles all over the city. Someone's actually jogging right now. I don't know if you can hear it. There are like bikes all over the place. A bike just is leaving right now. So that's omnidirectional for you.
Alright, unfortunately we didn't find any monkeys today. They are shy to come out. But what I did want to test is the noise cancelling. So this is a bit of a busier area, so there's more things going on. So I'm going to switch the filter on, see how that changes things. Alright, now the noise cancelling is on. There's something shuffling over there. I think it's a bird or something, hopefully. And there's some people jogging in the back. And yeah, this is the noise cancelling function. Let's see if we can go over here and see if something shuffles a bit more. Ira, what do you think? Oh, there's some leaves crackling, right? I guess we can crack one of the leaves. Alright, Ira's making noise in the background. We'll see if that comes through. And she finished quite quickly, but yeah, that's pretty much the noise going on in the back, and we'll see if the mic was able to cancel any of that out while Ira goes to town on some leaves. Alright, so this is now with the Rode Videomic Pro. We're just standing still. There's no low pass filter or anything going on. And yeah, let's just head over this way. We'll go up the stairs because there's like a lot of people right now and I don't want to have to like dodge them. But the Rode Video mic has always been good with like not picking up too many vibrations. So I don't think I should be concerned that it should be picking it up. We'll see how the Sony sounds. And the setting right now is pretty much about -12 dB. So that should be, I'll raise it up in post, but I won't apply any other effects or anything like that. So this is mainly just to see like how my voice comes through on it. And I don't have a super sibilant voice, I don't think. And there's some construction in the background. We'll see if that gets picked up. But yeah, this has pretty much been the standby mic we've been using for a while now. And that's all I can think about. I'm also thinking about what I want to eat for dinner as well. But yeah, this is how walking and talking is, especially with noise in the background. There's no noise removal. There's a low cut filter, but that's not going to take out that. That's only going to take out, you know, the rumble of like the AC or something. But this has been What Do We Eat for Dinner, a Cruisigeti and Offcast production. Anyway, I think for most people the Rode sound is pretty familiar. They know what they're getting with it. So we're gonna wrap this part up. We're gonna go back, we're gonna listen to the ECM, listen to this, and see what the best sound is straight out of the box without adding any extra effects, because I know a lot of people just want to get their videos done and don't want to have to do a bunch of work in post, unlike me who likes to waste time, and that's why I'm so slow at producing things sometimes. All right, back to Studio Lewis. All right, so let me know in the comments what you think between those two tests. Let me know which microphone you thought sounded better. So in my own subjective opinion, I feel like the Sony ECM-B1M has the more finished and crisper sound, or it's at least a sound that you want to hear when you're outputting your videos. If you don't want to fuss too much in post-production, it really gets it done there. Now, that's not to say that the Rode sounds bad, not at all. I just think that it's something that maybe you want to tweak or play with a bit more. Now, when it comes to certain things that we mentioned earlier in the video, so on the Sony, I really feel like the feature set just pulls it far ahead. You know, with the Rode, of course, you know, you have things that are meant to, you know, create a safety track or the low cut filter, but there's just another level of features that the Sony has that really makes it user friendly. Now, in terms of the low cut and the noise canceling, I didn't like the sound of the noise canceling. It wasn't super harsh, like it got the job done, and it didn't give you that too much of a scooped out sound. The low cut I really didn't like. I really felt like it just took a bunch of the low end out, and on top of that, it also didn't really solve the problem that people had said about the handling noise. So I did notice this, that when you make abrupt movements and it's a really small shock absorber, it doesn't really have the ability to kind of like hold all those things, and it'll just bounce against something. So you hear like the thud of when you have fast abrupt movements with the microphone. So that's unfortunate. So it's just more of a user thing rather than I think necessarily a design flaw, because they are trying to keep this thing as compact as possible. It doesn't have the space to have the huge shock absorber that the Rode does. So it's a compromise of being compact and just something you have to deal with. And if you just adjust the way you handle the microphone, you won't have that problem. Now, the other features are great though. Like, I was really impressed with the omnidirectional. Basically did what I wanted, which is when I'm talking behind the camera to be able to pick up and hear me. And you really can't beat the automatic gain control. If you're someone that just really wants to be on the go and not have to worry about fiddling with settings and everything like that, like I was just messing with my whole setup. And it's actually the second time I'm recording this because there's so many different moving parts into this that I forgot one and I lost my audio. So I think for someone who wants to go out and keep things simple and just get the footage, get the content out, the Sony is really the best solution. You know, you'll spend less time in post and editing, just get it out there, maybe raise the gain a little bit and you're good to go. Whereas with the Rode, you know, you're also going to get something good out of the package, but if you really want something nice, you'll have to do a little bit of extra work in post with it. But they're both great deals. Now the B1M model, the more expensive one, if you already have the Rode Videomic Pro, I don't think it's something that you need to buy on top of that. It's not really worth the expense. But if you're, say, picking up your very first shotgun mic because you want to experiment with vlogging, or you just want something to pick up audio really quickly, then I think the Sony is a great choice. But again, let me know what you think. Thanks again for watching. Make sure to leave a comment below and like and subscribe if this video has been helpful. It's been fun to get out there and do some stuff again, but see you on the next one.